So annotations is usually one of the biggest friction points where we see people come in and want to move to a commercial vendor for marking up documents. So when we talk about annotations, we're talking about essentially drawing on a PDF or drawing on a document. You're adding an additional layer to the document that you can either then flatten or burn into the document. And so when we pop over here, you can see that, annotations has 21 sub features. So like you can do a lot with annotations. And so most open source tools in the space don't have annotations, or they have very basic annotations. And so we've definitely extended on that. So anything from, just generally drawing on the document here, we always include our annotation inspector, so you can change the color of the annotations and kind of, you can also change the default settings to what you need here as well. So you can, again, push your users to the experience that you want. Freeform highlighting, so to be able to hide stuff and then be able to use the opacity of the annotation so you can see what's under the text. And then you got to be able to get rid of what you did, so we can erase that, or I can just delete the entire annotation by itself. So other things, if the document has been digitally born, or if it has been scanned in and then run through an OCR process, the Web SDK can also do text selection. So what we'll be able to do is select the text. It's the same way we have to look at the text when you search, but then we can do cool stuff like we can highlight it. We can do strike through, we can do more markups and things like that. And that brings me to a point where one of the best things about, using an SDK versus an end user tool, like, maybe Adobe Desktop, Foxit Desktop, things like that, is that anything we're doing here from a UI perspective, you can also do from a programmatic perspective. So if I wanted to tell the SDK that prior to rendering the document, find all instances of the word welcome, highlight them, I could do that. And then on the back end as well, I could also say, everything I highlight, let's extract that. Let's use that information and send it somewhere so I can use to it. So again, maybe you're looking to, your e-reading or your study application, and everything you highlight, you want to pull out and bring somewhere, and you can do that with Nutrient as well. I just showcased, link annotation. So if there's any links on the PDF, you can pop out to those. You can also create link annotations as well. We have that ability. But so if I wanted to make sure that this bar, let's say, I want this bar to now send everyone to nutrient.io, I could do that. And then I've created that link annotation as well. So some cool things you can do. And we're just kind of touching the surface of annotations. Other annotation types that you're going to see with Nutrient are stamp annotation, so dropping stamps on the PDF as well. We use the same stamp template as Adobe. So again, that fidelity across different tools is really, really important. You can also import your own stamps. So, as we work through different verticals and different industries, we think it's really important to give customers that ability to use what type of tools that they need specifically. So when we look at stamps, we have a customer that has a custom stamp template for recreating accidents, like auto accidents, because they're in the insurance industry. So they have to basically rebuild the scene of the accident using stamps, and then they process that for insurance claims and stuff. So some of the cooler stuff. You can upload images to the PDF as well, so that's useful. And then we've got note annotations here as well, and some changes to change the icon, change the color of the note. So just kind of showcasing the customization abilities that you can do as well. So other things like text, so we can have text annotations, and you can use different fonts. We also have call-out annotations. So if I wanted to do a call-out annotation, so I'm going to point to this and then go call-out annotation. And then if I want to move some of this stuff, I can do that as well. So I've got some ability to do that. I actually want to point at something else. So we've got some options there with call-out annotations, and then one of the last annotation types would be a shape annotation. So being able to just do different shapes and things like that. Again, what what gets really cool for us is, I said that we work heavily in different verticals, one of those being construction and engineering. You saw some of the logos like CMIC, Autodesk, Procore, some of the name brands that use this in the construction industry. Cloud annotations is something that's commonly used on blueprints and markups. So, one of the things they asked us is, could you bring that to the shape annotations tools? And so working closely with customers, that was something that was really important to us, that we're able to satisfy that industry and give them that ability to do that. So wonderful. I will mention that, again, with being able to extract information on how people are interacting with the document, as I've been going through this, you can see that there's an annotation list here that I can actually go to where I was doing things. And so, here's the stamp I dropped, here's the note annotation, here's the text annotation. So there is a log of what's happening to the document that you can even pull back to individual users and stuff like that if you need that. That's also something you can export as well. Okay. Beautiful. Moving on. So viewing and annotations, probably some of our core modules.